Hello, welcome to the Tracy Show. Tracy with an I, not a Y. Monday motivation. You know, on Mondays it's so hard to get yourself together. So I said, you know what? Let me put on my lucky pink hat and start you guys out with a beautiful, well, not that daggone beautiful, a beautiful story. Actually, it is, because it's about Black history, and this time it's about someone who made it. Though he was tried over again, he made it. The first Black man to have a store in Baltimore, Maryland, Ononcock, Virginia. That's where he was from, and he did have a store there. Now, there is a story behind Samuel Burton's story, and I would suggest that you check out Julian Johnson Law on YouTube. Best history and law, Black history you can imagine. Everything. I'm talking everything. He goes so far back, there aren't any pictures. That's how far he go back. So anyway, his name was Samuel Burton. He was born in Virginia, Ononcock, Virginia, but there was a riot in Ononcock in 1907, I believe. And let me first say that Samuel Burton was very smart. He was educated. He could read. He helped people. He was part of the Masons group. He was very, very, very smart. And this riot broke out over $2. So all this, how Samuel ends up in Baltimore, started over $2. Yes. Again, Julian Johnson Law. Go to his channel, check it out. So, I'm just going to tell you the ending of what happened, okay? Samuel Burton's store in Ononcock was burnt down to the ground. Everything he had worked for and struggled for, he no longer had. And he was sentenced to jail. I believe he did a year in prison. And when he came out of prison, he had to start over. He had to start all over. And he started off just working as a clerk, what he didn't know, in a store. So hold on while I feed you the rest, because this is amazing. Amazing. After the Ononcock riot in 1907, Samuel Burton lost everything. His business was burned to the ground. His wealth was stolen. His property was confiscated. Everything he had worked for was gone, and he couldn't rebuild in Ononcock. He was banished from the town. His life would no longer be the same. His life was in danger if he ever set foot there again. With no choice but to leave, Samuel started over from nothing. He made his way to Baltimore, Maryland, scraping and scratching to survive. He took a job as a clerk in a store, back behind the counter, back on his feet, doing what he knew best. But each day brought back memories of what he had built in Ononcock. His life, his community, what he had earned, and what had been stolen from him. It bothered him deeply. This was supposed to be America. Slavery was over. He was a citizen, and as a citizen, he had rights. Samuel could have moved on, leaving the injustice behind. No one would have blamed him for walking away and never looking back. But that wasn't Samuel Burton. In Baltimore, he found something that made all the difference: a community. Baltimore in the early 1900s was more than just a big city. It was a black city. It had one of the largest populations of free black people in the country, with black teachers, lawyers, doctors, and thriving businesses. The community knew how to organize. Baltimore wasn't the Deep South, but it wasn't free from racism either. In fact, it became the first city in America to pass a residential segregation law, banning black people from moving into white neighborhoods. That law came about when a black lawyer named George McMecken moved into a white neighborhood. McMecken shared a law firm with another black lawyer, W. Ashby Hawkins, the actual owner of the home. Hawkins filed suit to challenge the law. Hawkins was a legal giant long before the rise of Thurgood Marshall and other civil rights leaders. He led the NAACP's battle against residential discrimination in the 1910s and in the 1920s, became the first black person to run for the U.S. Senate in Maryland. He didn't just practice law, he practiced resistance, using the legal system as a weapon against injustice. When Samuel Burton arrived in Baltimore, Hawkins stepped in to help him. He heard about Samuel's story. He heard how he had been run out of town for demanding fair pay, how his store was burned to the ground. He knew he had to help. In September of 1910, 3 years after the riot, Hawkins filed a 12-page federal lawsuit on Samuel's behalf against the town of Ononcock. Samuel explained that at the time of the riot, his store made over $10,000 a year, a huge sum then. He lost that income, and his credit was ruined, with wholesale houses in Baltimore and Philadelphia when he couldn't pay his accounts. The year he spent in prison before being acquitted left him with serious physical and mental injuries. He sought $100,000 in damages. This amazed the black community. This really amazed them because another black man was demanding that the law acknowledge what had been done to him was wrong. People noticed. Black newspapers covered the story and the crisis. The NAACP's monthly publication featured in March 1913, Samuel had been silenced in Ononcock, but now the nation was watching. The case was dragged on for 3 years, but federal Judge Edmund Waddell ruled that it was legally sound and deserved to be heard. Finally, in January 1913, the trial began. Samuel was the first witness, telling the all-white jury how it all started over a $2 debt and how everything he had worked for was destroyed. He told them that he could never go back to Ononcock, not without risking his life. Other witnesses backed him up. When the jury returned, their verdict shocked many. They ruled in Samuel's favor, finding that the town officials had violated his rights and awarded him $3,500 in damages, about $115,000 today. Ononcock's leaders refused to accept the loss, appealing the case and dragging it out even longer. Eventually, in February 1913, Samuel agreed to a $2,000 settlement to end all legal proceedings. With that money, Samuel didn't disappear. He rebuilt. He opened a clothing store in Baltimore that quickly became a success. In 1917, his first year, the store brought in $17,000. The next year, $35,000. By 1920, Samuel Burton was making $60,000 a year, nearly $1 million today. His store was well known for high quality clothing and excellent service. He advertised in black newspapers, held holiday sales, and, as before, hired black employees. For Samuel, success was never about rising alone. The message that Samuel had once preached in Ononcock, do more, demand more, rise higher, he lived out in Baltimore. They had stripped him, shamed him, slandered him, but he stood firm. They bent him, but he was not broken. His comeback was his counter-attack, proof that hatred and lies cannot outlast hope and truth. You can knock us down, but we rise. You can burn our homes, but we rebuild. You can bury the truth, but it will rise again. I thank you all for listening. I thank you all for watching. If you have heard this story, please let me know in the comments. If you like the story, please let me know in the comments. Let me know something in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell for whenever I go live.